You know, when I was 12 years old and Kiss was my favorite band at the time, and I heard that Gene Simmons was in a movie, I had to check it out. But this had everything. Not only did it have Gene Simmons, but it was about rock and roll, and it had the Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne. And you couldn't open Fangoria without seeing pictures of them. You couldn't see the rock star in question in this movie, Sammy Kerr, without also reading about Ozzy and Gene. And before we get into their appearances in this movie, I want to talk about Mark Price of Family Ties fame. He did such an incredible, believable job as this heavy metal nerd who just could not get ahead in anything, that nobody could understand him. He could not fit in with anybody. Speaking of Eddie, we also have to talk about the bullies that bullied him. They weren't in the right. They were assholes for sure in this movie. And there is a chase scene with them going after Eddie that is just epic, and probably my favorite scene of the entire movie because it looks so visceral, so real. Like, it looks like they told Mark Price, run as fast as you can. And they told his bullies, run after his ass as fast as you can, because none of this looks very orchestrated. It looks messy. It looks fast. It looks chaotic. One guy takes a dive off of the stairs and just goes like a cartoon. It is hilarious. And like I said, it's probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. When we speak of who is this all about, we're talking about Sammy Kerr, played by Tony Fields. And he's got the look down, man. He's got the look of a rock star down. I think every time he poses, he looks awesome. Do I love his movements on stage and the overreactions that he does with his face? Not really, but he's got the look for pictures. He's got the look down packed. It's all about the look. It's just once it goes past that, it's hard to believe in him. But Sammy Kerr in this movie is a threat to society, similar to Dee Snider was, or Blackie Lawless was in the 80s. It was a very serious thing. This movie even came out right around the time as the parental advisory sticker was being created and debated upon. So Sammy Kerr was kind of the movie version of Dee Snider and Blackie Lawless. In fact, according to lore, Blackie Lawless was offered the role of Sammy Kerr until he found out he would have to mimic the songs of the soundtrack that were already created by a band called Fastway. To talk about Fastway a little bit, I actually had the record of this album. You know, back before all of this stuff shot up in price, you could walk into a place like Reckless Records and pick up this record for $2.99, $4.99. Try getting that today on eBay. Gene Simmons, the God of Thunder, who was already acting by this point and being distracted from his Kiss duties, plays a DJ, and he does a great job of playing a DJ in this movie, uses his voice to the maximum, and he does a generally good job. He's the character in the movie that actually gives Eddie this Songs of Death demo, the lost album of Sammy Kerr, records it to a cassette for him. So they keep the big record master, and he gets this metal. Of course, it looks like metal encased cassette that wreaks havoc throughout the movie. And then Ozzy Osbourne plays a reverend, a preacher of all things. And instead of giving him a script in the movie, they let him go and ad lib for about 45 minutes so they can use 1 minute of his dialogue, which you can see in this short on this channel. The movie's wacky, the movie's corny, the movie is perfectly 80s. And with that being said, I want to get to the does it hold up rating system for Trick or Treat. As for acting, I'm going to give it 4 bandanas out of 5. I mean, the lines they were given, the dialogue, the story, they did the best they can with what they had. As for special effects, I'm actually going to give it 5 bandanas out of 5. I think it's on par with everything else that was out at the time. And as for story, I'm going to give it 3 bandanas out of 5. When I think back to this movie, I always thought that Eddie got possessed by Sammy Kerr, and it's actually not that at all. He just brings him back from the dead. So yeah, 3 bandanas out of 5. So to answer the all-important question of does Trick or Treat hold up in the year of 2025 and beyond? Yeah, it does, especially with the new 4K restoration release. If you missed the initial release that had 666,000, I believe, 666,000 or 666, either way, it was 666 amount of releases, then you missed out on a hell of a package. But in my Amazon link below, you can actually pick this movie up on 4K still on Amazon with a kick-ass cover reminiscent of the old VHS cover. And guys, let me know down below, did you watch Trick or Treat when it was in the video stores? What video store did you rent it from? A chain one, a mom and pop? Did you have the soundtrack like I did? I had the record. And I want to say at some point, not 100% sure, but at some point, I believe I had the cassette of this as well, just to have it. And tears flow from my eyes because I don't have any of that stuff anymore. And then also, to honor the Prince of Darkness, leave me your favorite Ozzy Osbourne track in the comments. I'm Alex Thorn, and you know what I gotta do. I gotta rock out, listen to Ozzy Osbourne, watch some movies, and review them for you.